Hello. I have machined my seam, which is the front of the sleeve, as you see, both sides. So that's done. So when is that machined? It's the next stage would be is pressing, and this is quite an important stage for the sleeve. So I'm going to just put that on the iron pad. And I will advise you if you don't have a good steam in your iron, I would advise you to damp this area, so the front of your sleeve, yeah, especially your seam allowance, and and that area of the sleeve, because that's we're going to stretch it a little bit to make it, instead of being that way curved, we're going to try to make it more straighter. Okay, which is will make the sleeve seat better. Okay, so you could use and cover that area with the wet cloth, which is absolutely fine, but I'm not going to do that, so you can see exactly what does need to be done. Okay, so so I've got a lot of sleeve on my iron, and the first thing I do is just press my steam and my seam allowance as flat as possible. So I always do that after on the machining. I press my seams. So now it's pressed. So now I'm going to stretch it, that area. Okay, so I'm going to stretch it opposite way. So what I actually do, if you see, I'm trying to make that seam, because it's curved that way, is actually smaller in comparison to that area here. So I'm trying to kind of like stretching it opposite way, so stretching it that way, and make it as straight as possible. I'm just going to turn around to that way. Try not to iron that area, because that's the right side of your fabric, so you don't want to damage that. So be careful, if you need it, just cover it. And I go inside on the sleeve as well. So I stretch that area of the sleeve, make it straight. Okay, lovely. So that's nice. So you can see, so if I put it back, you can see is that area slightly straight, stretched to similar arms, but it also creates like a new nice line in here. So the next part would be, I'm going to open my seam. Okay. And for this one, you don't need to cover your fabric, but if you don't have steam, a good steam in your iron, then I would advise you to use your fabric and obviously damp that area to make it more. So to make it more fixed in that sense, so it's good to use steam. Make it fix flat as well and stretch it. And, okay. Give a good press. Okay, now the next part would be as we press some our seam allowance. Sometimes when we press it, we have from the seam allowance we leave sometimes it leaves the marks, and it's also sometimes it transfers to that side. So check, make sure if you have any marks from the seam. So once it's transfers, then if it does, what I would like you to do, open it, your seam, and then just press it inside. That way you'll rid of the print from the seam allowance. And I do exactly the same. Okay, it's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to turn around. You can see better. See, nice, lovely, doesn't print anything, nicely stretched, flat. And so if I put that, so you can see, that's beautiful. Okay, so that's what I would like you to do as well. Okay, see you next session. Bye.